The nation's first fully digital energy hub is planning on opening near Findlay, Ohio. According to a recent study, the adoption of solar energy and the movement towards electric vehicles is moving faster and will be more transformational than some very important historical events, such as the adoption of the Model T Ford during the 1910s and the build out of the American Air Force during World War II. And a recent study shows that solar energy is on residential buildings is getting larger, a little bit cheaper, and incorporating more batteries. I'm Jay Warmke with Blue Rock Station, and this is the news from the solar industry for the week of October 15th. One Energy has announced that they're opening up the first fully digital substation that will power an energy hub near Findlay, Ohio. Now, it's the first of its kind energy hub, and it will supply about 30 megawatts of power initially, but is expandable up to 150 megawatts. The first tenant of this energy hub will be a digital Bitcoin mining operation, but there are plans to open up a charging station for semi-trucks, for large cargo vehicles. And the plan is to use this as a demonstration model to show that it is economically and practically possible for these large semi-trucks to go fully electric. This station will operate and charge as many as 90 of these semi-trailers at a time at a 300 kilowatt charging rate. And this is being built without any utility subsidies, without any government grants. So this is a 100% commercial operation. It will also incorporate wind and solar generating facilities on site. Last month, the International Energy Agency, or the IEA, published its second annual Net Zero Roadmap report on how the global economies are meeting all of the climate goals that have been put in place by various governments. It made comparisons to a number of important past technology evolutions, really comparing how quickly they grew and also what was the year-on-year cost reductions as this technology matured. For example, the Ford Model T during the decade from 1910 to 1920 grew at an annual rate of about 34%, with annualized cost reductions year on year of about 9% per year. During World War II, the U.S. had to build out its Air Force, and so from 1939 through 1945, each year airplane production within the U.S. grew at about 75%, and they saw annual reductions in cost of about 13% as this technology matured. Now, comparing this with solar from 2010 to 2020, solar grew at a 24% annualized rate and saw 18% year-on-year cost reductions. And electric vehicle batteries grew even faster during that same period of time at about a 69% annual rate with 19% cost reductions year-on-year. Power purchase prices fell for the first time last quarter, the first time in 3 years. It fell by about 1%. Now, power purchase agreements are basically the wholesale price, and in this case, we're looking at the wholesale price utilities and large companies pay for solar energy. Prices are now at about $49.09 per megawatt hour. That is essentially about 4.9 cents per kilowatt hour, which is the wholesale price that utilities are paying, not what the customer ends up paying. During the past few years, we've seen these wholesale prices rise, largely due to COVID initially. Then there were the supply chain disruptions that were the result of COVID, and then tariffs that were put in place, largely targeted at China. So those all combined to see a cost rise. This indicates a certain amount of price stabilization, and industry experts are predicting that we will see further declines in prices, largely because the Inflation Reduction Act has led to large build-outs of utility solar. So we're seeing price reductions because of that, but prices are remaining stubbornly high because of increased interest rates. Now, Lawrence Berkeley National Labs has issued their annual report tracking the sun. And in there, they tracked various residential solar trends. They are finding that the solar on residences is getting a little bit larger, about 7.2 kilowatts on average. They're declining in price a little bit, but they're also now a move towards having battery backup. In fact, about 11% of all new systems incorporate some sort of battery backup. The median prices nationwide for a residential system that does not include batteries is $4.17 per watt. That's fully installed without any incentives. And if you do incorporate storage, it's about $4.92 per watt. Whereas commercial systems, smaller systems are at about $3.21, and larger systems come in at about $2.16 per watt fully installed. And that's the news from the solar industry for this week. We'll see you next week.